Hey guys, it's Mackenzie. I told you I was going to make a video this week. It's kind of late. Actually, no it's not. It's only 10. Which is late for most people, but not for me. I wake up at noon, so this is basically noon for me. I feel nocturnal lately, but I have no idea why I'm so happy. This week's theme is really depressing. Anyway, the theme for this week was family tragedy. Still don't know why I'm so excited about this. But I heard about Cassie and her dad, and I've been here before. It actually, your story that you're going through right now has a lot to do with my story that I'm about to tell. I've noticed a lot of people haven't made a video this week. It's probably because it's family tragedy and it's all awkward, but still gotta make videos, guys. And I know I'm kind of being a hypocrite right now, but I have been trying lately, and early when I was on my iPod, and I can't seem to find it now, but early when I was on my iPod and I typed in the 14 Angels collab, no channel that was related to here popped up, like none of the personal channels of the Angels popped up. This channel didn't pop up at all. I had no idea what was going on with it. Maybe it was just my iPod, but I go in here and I can find it perfectly, so must have been just my iPod, but okay, so family tragedy. Like I said, my story kind of relates to Cassie and her dad, only my dad didn't really have, like, cancer. So we're in the we were in the army. He was in the army for about 17 years, and he would have been 43 on the 3rd of February this year. So, yeah, got to celebrate his birthday with the Super Bowl. But it's still kind of depressing. It's been 2 years since he's been gone. The anniversary of his death was on the 14th of March of this month. It's really tough because my mom was kind of breaking down, and I think one of the ways she was kind of breaking down was how she asked Trevor to move out. And if you guys don't know who Trevor is, he was my stepdad. Well, they weren't married or anything. I just like to consider him my stepdad because it feels awkward when people are like, oh, who's that? It's like, it's Trevor. Who's Trevor? And I feel awkward, like I don't know whether I should say mom's boyfriend or stepdad, so I just call him my stepdad. Don't know why. But she asked him to move out, and he actually left this morning before anybody woke up, and it was kind of tough because nobody really got to say goodbye. I guess we'll always have Facebook, but it's still not the same. I'm gonna miss him. Back on topic, my story. I was living in Hawaii at the time, which most of you guys know. I lived in Hawaii for 3 years because my dad got stationed there because he's in the army. And, we live on the island of Oahu in Wahiawa, and he worked down in Honolulu. Sounds really weird saying all these Hawaiian names, but they think this is why it happened, but when my dad was little, like my age, like 12, 13, 14 years old, he was riding his bike on like a really long road, like a straight road. He was riding it like as fast as he could. I think he got dared to ride it as fast as he could or something, I don't know. But the front wheel of his bike ended up popping out, and the front part that held the wheel forked down into the road, and he went flying like 15 feet in the air, and he ended up getting some brain damage from that. So I think that's why he used to have a lot of seizures. They think that's why he had the seizures, and he had sleep apnea, so he had to use like this little machine that helped him breathe during the night so he wouldn't stop breathing. It was kind of weird at first when they told him he had sleep apnea because the machine was like really loud at night and it made it hard to sleep. But the first time it happened was about the second year that we lived there in Hawaii, It was about the second year, and he was in, where was it? He was in his room, and my mom felt like the sheets and stuff and the blankets rustling in the middle of the night. It was like 3 a.m. And she rolled over and he's seizing, so she called 911. The ambulance got there. He was passed out for a few hours, but he ended up coming around and everything was fine. And then the last year we lived there, which is the third year, it was 2011, and on around March 9th, I guess, or sometime around there, my dad went up. It was like 3 a.m. again, and my dad got up to use the bathroom or something, and then my mom heard like a loud bang, and she woke up, and she looked in the bathroom, and my dad was on the floor, passed out, and so she called the ambulance again. We thought it would be just like last time that he would come around, but we ended up taking him to Tripler, which is like the the big name hospital down in Hawaii. And so we took him to Tripler, and they said, well, I went because it had been a few hours and everybody was just sitting there in the waiting room just waiting for him to wake up, I guess. And it was really tough. My grandparents and my family, like my aunts and my uncles and my cousins, they all live in Utah. We're like the only branch out of the family that lives up here in Washington. But at the time we lived in Hawaii. So I was at my friend Aliana and Bailey's house, trying to pass the time because I was just waiting for him to wake up. But John, Aliana's dad, got a call from my mom saying that I needed to come to the hospital like immediately. So we drove back to the hospital, and my mom told me that he wasn't going to wake up and that it was over. And then getting emotional. They told me that there was nothing they could do. They've tried a bunch of different things that they thought would help, but it just wasn't working. And they said that the doctors figured that he had been dead for about since he fell in the bathroom. So they figure that's when he died. The date that they pronounced him dead was the 14th, but they say that the day that he actually died was the night that he fell on the floor and passed out. Then that was around the 12th or the 13th when they told me. And when I got to the hospital, my grandparents were already there. I was like, what are they doing here? I mean, I know that he's in the hospital, but it's just like last time. You don't need to come down here. You wasted like 24 hours just to fly out here for no reason. And then my mom told me that he wasn't going to come back. And then it just clicked that they were here for a reason. So we ended up going to Utah, and we buried him where he was born. Well, not exactly, like, these are the coordinates that Jeremy was born. For the record, his name's Jeremy. But we buried him in his hometown of Salt Lake City in Utah, and in a cemetery next to my great-grandma and grandpa on my dad's side. And he didn't want to be cremated, he wanted to be buried, so we buried him where he wanted to be buried, in his hometown. Every year on the 14th of March, my grandparents and my cousins and stuff go to the cemetery and like pay their respects and stuff. for me, the 14th is just really depressing. I don't really like to talk about my dad. Not that he wasn't, like, awesome. Like, he was, like, the best dad ever. Well, obviously I'm saying that because he's my dad, but, like, you know, it's hard losing somebody that has been there all that time, and now they're just, poof, they're gone out of nowhere, and it was really hard for me. I didn't go to school for, like, a month after that, because I was just afraid of, like, breaking down in front of the class. Like, I don't know, I just thought that somebody, because there was always this one kid in my 5th grade class, I was in 5th grade at the time, and there's always this kid that looked exactly like my dad, and every time I saw him I'd be like, hey, you look like my dad, you remind me of my dad. So I'd joke around and call him Jeremy. But after that, I didn't want to see that kid and then end up breaking down in front of the entire class. And then have everybody being like, what's wrong, what's wrong? And I'd just be sitting there like all awkward, like not knowing what to say. So the day I came back to school, my mom had emailed the teacher about what happened. And the day I came back to school, she's like, you know, do you want to tell the class or what? And I was like, you know what, no. I'm not going to make everybody's day depressing. I'm not going to be all awkward with myself by telling them, hey, my dad's dead, whoop-de-doo. Not that it was like that, but you know what I mean. So once again, kind of depressing video, and it's 12 minutes long. But hey, you guys wanted a story, so I gave you a story. It's my family tragedy. I will see you guys next weekend. I love you guys forever.